Question number 2 on our review asks us to analyze and interpret data from charts and graphs. So this means I can read the graph and explain what is being shown to me. So here is the picture of your graph. This is also available in Canvas. I know it's kind of hard to see on your paper. So we can see this. Here's the starting. They all started at 100. And then after, this is our temperature up and down. After this many hours, this is so that after, so long, they all ended up the same, that thermal equilibrium. But as they were cooling, we're going to talk about what you notice from this graph. So the blue here is air, yellow is sand, and pink is representing the styrofoam. So you'll want to use this, either freeze this or look at Canvas to make sure you know which is which. So it has a couple questions it wants you to answer here. So the questions is that you need to explain which material is the best insulator and the worst insulator and provide evidence of that. So what's the best insulator? What's the worst insulator out of these three? And evidence of that. So what is a fact from this graph that helps you know that? So go ahead and pause the video and answer about the best and worst insulator and your evidence, and then come back when you are ready to look at the scoring guide. So the scoring guide, the best one, if you identified the best one as styrofoam and the worst one as air, then that's a 2. But if that's all you did, that's a 2. So if we come back here, we can see, right, so after an hour, styrofoam had the most heat and it remained the highest until they eventually were the same as the outside air. And air dropped the fastest, and the sand was kind of in the middle there until about hour 3, sand and air remained the same. So, excuse me, the whole time the styrofoam remained at a higher temperature. It was not letting as much heat transfer through there. So if all you did was best and worst, that's a 2. If you just said they're the same, if you did not get them correct and you had air is the best or sand is the best, then that's a 1. So a 3 might look something like the material that was the best insulator was the styrofoam. So I identified the best because it had the least amount of heat transfer. So that's true. It's a nice sentence. The material that was the worst insulator was the air because it had the most heat transfer. It allowed the most heat to go through it. True statements, but I wouldn't really say that's, like, what is that fact? I feel like it's missing data from the chart. So a 4 might say something like the material that was the best insulator was the styrofoam. After 1 hour, it only dropped 45 degrees. So there's your fact from the chart. The material that was the worst insulator was air. After 1 hour, it dropped 56.5 degrees compared to the sand, which dropped 51.5. So I even threw that sand in there to show, look, this went lower than the sand and lower than the styrofoam. So the fact is really what's going to get you the 4 and referring back to your chart and giving that evidence just like you do in language arts. So decide which one is closest to your answer. So circle that and give a reason, right? Did you identify them, but maybe didn't use fact? I used facts, and that's why I gave myself a 4. I didn't get it right. I gave myself a 1. I didn't write incomplete sentences. That's a 2. So decide which one you are, the reason why, and then set a goal. Do you need to make sure you give evidence? Do you need to write incomplete sentences? Do you need to study the charts better to look at what does it actually mean? So go ahead and set a goal that what you need to do your best on the test.